over here and I'll click the OK button, and it will put my data. Here's the answers in this gray area. Notice that the top left cell is in F2, which is right where I told it to put it. And then it just puts all the rest of the data. But this is too scrunched up and very hard for me to read. So for me to unscrunch these cells, one thing I could do is I could go to Format, and then I can go to Column, and then I can go to Auto Fit Selection. Now you need to be careful here, because if you go to Format, sometimes you'll see something that says Format Auto Format, and you're tempted to do that. Don't. Go Format, then to Column before you go to Auto Fit. Auto Fit is different from Auto Format. So Format, Column, and then you go to Auto Fit Selection. And that will spread things out so that they're readable. In this case, let's take a look at what the output is. I'll click on any other cell just to get rid of the blue color. In this case, I can see for Tina, the mean is 3.18 episodes. For Leon, the mean is 3.93. And for Carrie, the mean was 3. I can see the standard error is this number, 0.526. The median is 3. The mode, it says, is 3. But that tells me that at least I know that 3 is a mode. What I don't know is if it's the only mode. It tells me the sample standard deviation. This is a standard deviation calculated as if this is a sample, which it is in our case. But this is why it would be wrong to use this with the population, is because standard deviation is computed differently when you're using an entire population. This also tells us our sample variance, our kurtosis, our skewness, our range, our minimum number, our lowest number, our highest number, the sum. What if we added up all of Tina's episodes? How many total episodes did she have during that period of time? And she had 51. And how many days did we count? We counted 16 days. I can see the same for Leon, the same type of data. I can see the same type of data for Carrie Crow. And you can see why putting these labels makes this much more readable, our answer much more readable. If I weren't to include the data, the labels, then all this would say is column 1, column 3. It would tell me some column number, but it wouldn't make it really clear to me what's involved. Now what I'd like to do is redo what we just did, but using a little different option, where instead of putting the results on the same page where the data are, we'll put the results on a separate sheet. So the way we do that is we would go back to Tools, go to Data Analysis, and Data Analysis will remember what we did last. It will remember that we did descriptive statistics, so I'll just click on OK. It remembers where the data are, B1 to D17, and it remembers that we wanted columns. It remembers we had labels in first row, and it remembers everything we did. Now what I'm going to do is change this output range to New Worksheet Ply. Now I could give this a name, and it would come out on a separate page, a separate sheet. Right now our data is on sheet 1. This would put our answer on some other sheet. If I put no name, it'll just take the next sheet. If I had sheet 1, 2, 3 already here, it would name this sheet 4 by default. In this case, if I put nothing, it'll say sheet 2. But I'm going to say, I'll call this episodes. I'll just make it short. I'll just call it epi. And then I'll click on OK, and it created a new page. It created a page, an epi page, and it has my data. It's still squished, so I'll go Format, I'll go Column, I'll go Auto Fit Selection. Alternatively, instead of doing that, if I wanted to, I could, that's my undo button, by the way. That's a very important button to know about if you make as many mistakes as I do. When all the data is highlighted, I can double-click right next to any of these lines that separate, say, D from E or E from F. If I double-click, see how that row automatically fits the data. So I could just double-click on each of those if I wanted to. Oh, it's being stubborn. There we go. Or if, just notice if my cursor is here, it's like an arrow pointing to the entire column. Or when it hits right here, it becomes this kind of cross with two arrows to the sides. When it's like that, I can resize by holding down my mouse button and dragging it any size I want it to be, and then letting go. So that's how you can resize your columns. By the way, you can also resize your rows that way. It looks ugly, but let me go here. I'll go between the 4 and 5. I'll push down my button. I'll go like that, and now row 4 is a very tall column. So you can resize everything. That was just a little aside. We've covered everything we need to cover in this lesson. Thank you very much.